Hello, this KPTP session is in regards to how to submit your KPTP. It's not on how to complete your KPTP. Your KPTP is your Kansas Performance Teaching Portfolio, which is required for licensure. You can access this information on Blackboard. In order to do this, you will need to log into your Blackboard. And then instead of choosing My Courses, you're going to choose My Organizations. And under My Organizations, you will find the Kansas Performance Teaching Portfolio folder that you have been enrolled in. And if you click on that, you should be able to access this course. And this is where you will be submitting your portfolio, your required video, as well as your required teaching evaluation. And so when you log into Blackboard, choose the My Organizations tab, and then you should find one that's labeled Kansas Performance Teaching Portfolio. Click on that and you can get into all the information that is available on submitting your portfolio, not on how to do your portfolio. Each of you have been assigned a student ID number. You should be able to find that in your online gradebook. It will be a number that starts with the letter T, T as in teaching. So you could be T01 or you could be T101. That is what you are going to use to identify yourself. Do not have your name on any items that you submit into Blackboard. Only use your student ID that has been provided to you, which is your KPTP student ID, not your WSU student ID. Do not use your WSU student ID. Please use the number that has been assigned to you, and you will find that in your online gradebook. An attestation form. If you go into the Blackboard organization for the KPTP and you go under information and videos, you will find an attestation form that you will need to print off. You will need to sign it in 2 different places, and you will need to include your KPTP ID. If you are present in the presentation, you'll pass it to the end of the row. But if you're a student from an online program, or you're completing your KPTP at a distance, you will complete your KPTP attestation form and submit it as an email attachment to cas.dean@wichita.edu. Your attestation form must be submitted before your portfolio will be sent to the Kansas State Department of Ed in April. Many of you will recall being notified that you were being charged a $60 fee. This $60 fee is for your KPTP document that will be sent to KSDE. There are always 2 scores of your KPTP, and this $60 fee assists the Kansas Department of Ed in covering that fee that is paid to your scores. It has been added to your WSU student account, so if you've seen that $60 fee, that is what that $60 fee is. Please make sure you have signed your attestation form and you've turned it in during the whole group session, or you've emailed it to the cas.dean@wichita.edu. To better understand how to complete your KPTP, you will need to access the information on the KSDE website. To do that, you would go to this link that I have provided, or you can go up into your search bar and search KSDE space KPTP. You will know that you are in the correct place if your page looks very similar to this right here. It is your responsibility to go through the content guidelines. It is your responsibility to look at the overview. It is your responsibility to download the template. Do not try to create your own template. You want to download this template to your computer, and this is the template that you will actually type your portfolio into. You will also notice that KSDE has provided you some examples. So if you want to look at some examples, here are 4 examples. Now, they are letting you know that these are model portfolios. They're not telling you that they were 100% in all areas, but that these portfolios received high scores, and you can't copy from these actual portfolios because that would be considered plagiarism and will be in violation of the academic integrity policy. But you can maybe look at how they set something up. So these resources are for you to utilize. And prior to this semester, you have been introduced to these by your university instructors and or your university supervisors and or your success coach. What is the purpose of the KPTP? It's required for your initial license, and it's designed for you to apply the knowledge that you have been taught. Yes, you have your praxis and your PLT exams that you do, but this is an authentic approach to allowing you to demonstrate your knowledge in regards to the contextual factors in the classroom that you must use to design and implement a unit of study. It also is an opportunity for you to show how you use a unit lesson plan or unit worth of lesson plans and assess your students' knowledge from that. It's also a time for you to show how you modify instruction for students in your classroom. And please note that you will be required to modify instruction for at least 2 individual students within your classroom that you will be teaching. If you have any specific questions in regards to the size of your classroom, those need to be directed to your university professor and or instructor of your internship course. In addition, the teacher candidate, you as the teacher candidate, will reflect upon your implementation of the unit for the whole class, as well as your implementation for these 2 focus students. So the overall purpose for this KPTP is for you to apply what you have been taught in your teacher preparation program. The KPTP is going to look at your competency in 6 focus areas. It's going to look at your ability to analyze contextual information, to analyze learning environment factors, and to look at the instructional implementation that those have. And then based upon your instructional implementation, it's going to look at your ability to analyze the classroom learning environment while you're teaching and make adjustments. Also is going to look at your ability to utilize and analyze assessment procedures, as well as your overall skill and ability to reflect and self-evaluate to improve your instruction. In addition to these focus areas, the KPTP will look at 4 tasks. It will look at your contextual information and learning environment factors. It's going to look at your ability to design instruction. It's going to look at your task of teaching and learning and your task of reflection and professionalism. Now, each of these 4 tasks are focused in on specific focus areas. So for instance, with task 1, you're going to be looking at focus area A and D. So this means that you're going to be looking at analyzing the contextual information as well as your classroom environment as you plan that instruction. Here are some general guidelines that I will encourage you to do. First of all, I would encourage you to go back to the KSDE website and make sure that you look through all of those resources that have been provided to you and really look at the content guidelines and make sure you read through what is required of you. Then I would encourage you within that to read each task and the rubric descriptions entirely before beginning working on any part of the portfolio, to make sure you truly understand what is being asked of you within that task and within that focus area. The second piece is that you need to develop a timeline for completion of your KPTP. Do not wait until the very last minute to write your KPTP. Don't think that you can get it written the day before, the day of, or just the weekend of it being due. You really need to pace yourself. Based upon a pilot that they did, the average amount of time that it took individuals to complete each task is listed right here. Task number 1 took most individuals in that pilot study 3 to 4 hours to complete. Task 2 was 6 to 8 hours. Task 3 was 4 to 5 hours. And task 4 took 2 to 3 hours. So this means you really need to develop a clear timeline of how you're going to complete this and work on it, in addition to your time in the classroom and the coursework that you are needing to complete. So once you have kind of created that outline, set yourself due dates. Tell yourself, I'm going to have this done by this time and this done by this time, and hold yourself accountable for it, because no one else is going to hold you accountable for it. So you must hold yourself accountable for that. You also need to realize that some parts of each task can be occurring simultaneously with another one. So for instance, the daily teaching reflections required in task 3 can be collected at the same time as your daily communication logs that you're doing for task 4. So it goes back to part A that I provided to you, meaning make sure you read each task, you look at the rubric descriptions, you completely understand what is being required of you within this portfolio, and then create that timeline so that you know what you are accomplishing. Before you submit your portfolio, I encourage you to check your responses to see if all prompts and questions have been addressed. I encourage you to compare your responses to the criteria listed in the rubrics. So look at a task and look at a focus area and make sure that you have addressed entirely what is within the criteria of that rubric. Make sure all the items in the checklist are completed and all other required products are included. And anything that you are required to include product-wise, whether it's a table or a reflection, make sure that you have clearly labeled them, and in the appendices, you have listed anything in the order they are requested. And the content guidelines will guide you through what it is that you need to do. Within your portfolio, do not use your name. Do not use the name of other candidates. Do not use the name of your university. Do not use the name of the school or the school district where you are working, or the city of where you're working, or teachers you are working with. Just use labels like, I am in school A within district B, working with students C, D, E, and F. And then refer to those as student C, student D, student E. Use pseudonames. Do not use actual names. When you are writing the content of your KPTP, I tell you to be specific and concise. You are limited to 35 pages. That does not include your cover sheet. So you really need to be consistent in what you're saying. Use thorough bullets so that you're not wasting a lot of space and time to transition from one thought to the next. Don't repeat previously provided information. And don't make the scorer hunt for evidence. Be sure you respond to each prompt for each focus area within the task where it is asked of you. Because your scorer is only going to look for evidence only in that section. So if it's task 1, they're only going to look for your responses to those 2 focus areas within task 1. They're not going to look for it later on in your portfolio and come back and give you a score on that. Use tools to avoid spelling and grammar errors. Check for clarity. Have a proofing process. Make sure you proofread. Your portfolio should be in Arial font. It should be 11-point font. It should be single space, both the narrative portions and the tables. Do not exceed 35 pages. The 35 pages does not include your cover sheet. So keep the cover sheet on there that is already in the template. And this also does not include your appendices. So anything that's in Appendix A, B, C, whatever, that doesn't count. It's your 35 pages from page 1 to the very end. Please remember, your scorer quits scoring at page 35. So make sure that you have all of your focus areas and task discussion completed between pages 1 and 35. If you provide any abbreviations in your document, you can include those in your appendix, or the very first time, let's for instance say you use multi-tiered system of support, in parentheses after that you could label it MTSS, and then through the rest of your portfolio you could use MTSS. Don't use slang, don't use text jargon, don't use emoticons. You have to put your most professional foot forward in your writing. Nick Nelson each semester always comes in and does a presentation with our candidates prior to their final semester in the program. Here are a few helpful hints that Nick does provide in regards to content. He will tell you to organize your data and notes before you start writing. He will tell you to work on it in phases, just like I have encouraged you to do in setting your timeline. He will encourage you to follow all prompts provided in the content guidelines. He also encourages you to look at the page limits provided in the content guidelines and template, and tells you that you should follow this to ensure that your portfolio does not exceed the 35-page limit. You need to use technical writing. Avoid using words like I think or I feel or I believe, and use bulleted lists where appropriate to save yourself space and foster the ease of scoring. I encourage you to use the scoring rubrics that are provided within your content guidelines. You will find that the rubrics have a scale of 1 to 3. 3 means you've met the criteria, 2 means the criteria was partially met, and 1 means the criteria was not met. 10 scores will be assigned for a possible score of 30. You must have a passing score of 20 in order to pass. You will have 2 scorers who will be scoring you on your portfolio. The scorers are practicing teachers. They're retired teachers. They are current or former teacher education faculty members. They're current people who are in the field of education. Each semester I'm asked, is a works cited page required? A works cited page is not required, and I have confirmed this with Nick Nelson at KSDE. If you do not recall seeing Nick Nelson in person before, I will tell you that I do have a training video. It is a couple of semesters old, but you can find that if you go into Blackboard, go to My Organizations, go to Kansas Performance Teaching Portfolio, choose the Information and Videos tab, and then you will find a Nick Nelson KPTP training video that you are more than welcome to go back and view. In the intern calendar, you will find, and I have posted that intern calendar on the link to that intern calendar on Blackboard. Your deadline for uploading your KPTP is on Monday, April 8th at 7 p.m. You are encouraged to upload prior to that date. You are required, but if you wait till the last minute, you're going to discover that there is a lot of students uploading, or there could be issues with Blackboard, there could be technology issues. So I do encourage you to upload prior to the due date at 7 p.m. on April 8th. Be aware of Corbin Connect hours. I do have those posted on the KPTP Blackboard organization page. There is tech staff available in there to help answer questions on formatting or uploading your submissions, but they are not there to assist you with your content. When you submit your portfolio, it does need to be saved and submitted as a PDF. You will save it under your KPTP ID number that has been provided to you. You also can utilize the library. The library has computers that you are available to use, and those, that area, I'm not sure which area they have those at right now because I know they've been doing a lot of reorganizing, but you can click on this link and find the hours of when the library is open, and you are more than welcome to use those resources as well. The next piece that I want to talk about is where do you submit your portfolio? When you log into Blackboard, you go to My Organizations and you choose the Kansas Performance Teaching Portfolio link. You will find the Information and Videos tab. You will find Submit Your KPTP Portfolio Video and US Evaluation here. If you click on this, you will find 3 different assignment submissions. You would want to choose the KPTP Portfolio submission. This will need to be uploaded by the deadline. If you do not meet the deadline, your KPTP will not be submitted to KSDE this semester, and you will not be allowed a remediation option. You will be required to file a curriculum exception form, and then based upon the decision of the exceptions committee, you will then be told when you could submit your KPTP. Please know that if you do not meet the deadline, you will encounter issues applying for your license, dependent upon what the exception committee decides. So for instance, if the exceptions committee says that you cannot submit your KPTP until the next semester, which would be the fall semester, you would not be eligible to apply for your initial teaching license and to start a position for the next school year. You would have to look at some alternative routes to allow you to receive a license at that time. You will be required to submit a video of your teaching. This video is going to be due on April 22nd at 5 p.m. You need to go to page 5 of the KPTP content guidelines to better understand the video recording guidelines. In the guidelines, it tells you to videotape 2 lessons, and this will help you in task 3 with some requirements that are asked of you within task 3. Of those 2 focus videos, you will need to submit one of them to Blackboard. Also, with that one that you plan to submit to Blackboard, you also need to make sure that it is observed by your faculty supervisor, a cooperating teacher or a teacher in your building, or your building administrator. For who you are student teaching with or you're teaching with. You will use the Appendix C observation form. This is found in the appendix of the content guidelines. There are 3 pages of this form that your individual who observes your video recorded lesson will complete. It is this Appendix C that you will submit also on April 22nd. So make sure that you work with your classroom teacher to obtain permission to record 2 videos during the teaching of your KPTP unit. Make sure you use a high-quality video recording that captures both you as the teacher and your students' voices. It doesn't mean that your students have to be in the actual video, but make sure we can hear their voices because that does help. You might want to practice videotaping a lesson and review it prior to videotaping the actual lessons for task 3. Your Appendix C and your video that you record, the lesson that you video record, and that you upload to Blackboard, those 2 items must match. Where do you submit your video? Well, you're going to submit your video in the same location where you submitted your portfolio, except for you will choose the KPTP video submission link, assignment link. But before you upload your video, your one video, you need to make sure you've converted the file to be able to upload it to Blackboard. I would encourage you to have it at 15 minutes or less and then compress that file. There are converting directions under the Information and Videos tab on Blackboard. When you submit your video and upload it to Blackboard, please make sure you use your assigned KPTP ID to specify this is T101 video, or this is T52 video. This video should match your US evaluation submission, which is Appendix C. So make sure that you click on this link right here, submit your KPTP portfolio video and US evaluation. And once you're in this link, you would then choose the video submission and upload your video. Now, I will tell you that when you upload, it's not an instant upload. It'll almost look like your screen is frozen, and it takes a few minutes for it to upload. If you're having issues uploading, I would encourage you to look at the size of your video. I would make sure that you have compressed your video. I would encourage you to look at your internet connection, because if you have a slow internet connection, it's not going to upload very quickly. So sometimes you might need to use a more powerful wireless internet connection, or you may need to directly connect into your internet for it to upload a little bit quicker. So it is possible to get your video uploaded. Just make sure that you troubleshoot through some of those issues. I keep talking about a university supervisor evaluation. This is not the KEEP evaluation. This is the Appendix C evaluation that is 3 pages long, and it is in the appendix of your content guidelines. You will have the video that you're going to upload observed, and that individual will use this Appendix C. As I said, it could be your university supervisor. It could be your success coach. It could be your cooperating teacher. It could be your building administrator, someone who watches that and provides you feedback. Please make sure that you label the file you upload in Blackboard with your assigned ID, and you will upload it by going to the same place where you have submitted the last 2 pieces, your portfolio and your video. Once again, your video and your evaluation must be uploaded by April 22nd, which is a Monday, at 5 p.m. Once the portfolios are uploaded in early April, I will download each of these and submit them to the KSDE document warehouse. Within 3 to 4 weeks, KSDE will send back scores. Once those scores are submitted to WSU, they will be uploaded into Blackboard. The possible score is 30 points overall. You must have a 20 or better to pass. KSDE will not specify any feedback beyond the total score. You will not receive your KPTP portfolio score until you have submitted your required video and your Appendix C. So please make sure you get those uploaded by the April 22nd deadline. If you do not have a score, my questions to you are, did you submit your video? Did you submit your Appendix C? Are you trying to view from an electronic device other than your computer or the Blackboard app? If so, sometimes that can prevent you from seeing the score. If you do not score a 20 or higher, you will be required to enroll in 1 hour of remediation. This remediation will need to be completed by the end of the current semester in order for you to meet licensure requirements. So, if you do not score 20 or higher, I will be in communication with you that explains to you the steps that you will need to follow in order to remediate. You only can remediate if you have submitted a complete portfolio by the April 8th deadline. If you do not submit a portfolio by the April 8th deadline, remediation is not an option for you. And I will discuss further what those options are for you. What support can you receive from your university faculty, your university supervisors or success coaches, your building level mentors or cooperating teachers or any building level administration? Well, they can ask you questions to lead you in the right direction. They can ask you questions or direct you toward making connections between the task and the task response and the rubrics. They can direct you to content guidelines that you may have questions about, or they can suggest resources that you could use, and they can observe a video of your teaching. What they cannot do is they cannot edit, correct, and or write parts of your KPTP portfolio. They cannot choose or create your objectives. They cannot choose or create your lesson plans. And they cannot choose or create your